Hello everyone and welcome back to Mason Sports Insider. I am Dan Ward and I have some big time updates for you in regards to Mason Athletics. The show is going to be a little bit shorter than usual, but I still hope you enjoy. Let's get things started with the biggest news of the week, and that comes from the men's volleyball team. They had two matches this week, one against St. Francis and one against Penn State, both of whom were nationally ranked. Number 15, St. Francis, came into the game just ahead of Mason in the standings, looking to lock in their playoff position. The Patriots demonstrated its lowest attack efficiency of the season, but it was the defense that took over in this game. Nerves contributed to the start of Mason, which was a slow start, and caused Jay Hosack to call the first time out of the game with St. Francis leading 11-5. After the timeout, the Red Flash began making mistakes and allowed the Patriots to creep back in it. A block by Paco Velez and redshirt freshman Garrett Killar was then followed by Dom Edgley's second ace of the set to reduce Mason's deficit to 1 at 14-13. It was a back-and-forth battle the rest of the first set, with the Red Flash having the first set point opportunity, but Paco Velez showed up huge again with the final kill to take the first set 27-25. The rest of the game was more of the same, with neither team ever really having the clear edge. The Patriots were just a little bit better, however, and they went on to win the next two sets to win the match 3-0. It wasn't as pretty and dominant as it had been in recent weeks, giving the resume of the opponent, but the sweep at home on Friday night punched their ticket to next week's EIVA championship. Now with the playoffs guaranteed, it was time for the last matchup against the perennial powerhouse Penn State Nittany Lions, a team that Mason has not defeated since 2008 and came into the game ranked number 9 in the nation. Senior Paco Velez and Dom Edgley could not have scripted a better senior night, because the team fought back from a set behind to earn its first win over Penn State in 8 years in what was a packed RAC gym Saturday night. Jack Wilson showed no rust after sitting out the last few weekends and had a stellar performance off the bench to finish with a match-high 26 kills. Johnny Gomez was huge on the defensive end, earning himself a career-high 20 digs. Penn State's leading attacker of the season, Chris Nugent, had a team-high performance with 11 kills, but the Offensive Player of the Week was held to only a 5.9 hitting percentage. After losing the first set by 2, the Patriots came back to win the next two tightly contested sets by a total difference of only 6 points. Then in the fourth set, the Nittany Lions squandered 5 set points and ultimately paid for it after kills by Jack Wilson and Christian Malias and a Wilson to Gresham block on Sauter sent the RAC gym into a state of euphoria for the final 29-27 in the fourth set, extending the Patriots' winning streak to 7 matches. The two teams were tied in kills on the night with 53 apiece, but Mason did slightly better than the Nittany Lions in attack efficiency. Mason was absolutely dominant at the net despite Penn State's size, outblocking the Nittany Lions 13-7.5. This win is huge for the Patriots, not only for this season, but for years to come. While previous head coach Fred Chow was fantastic with the Patriots, the one thing he couldn't do was beat the Nittany Lions. Jay Hosack comes into this season in his first year and does exactly that, beating his former team. The confidence level now should be off the charts for the Patriots heading into the playoffs. Perfect time to beat Penn State. And it also ends the losing streak and proves that the Nittany Lions can be beaten and that George Mason is for real. The future recruits, because of this game, will see this and think, you know what, Mason is a place to go. I know that they can beat the Nittany Lions. The future of the program just became so much more promising thanks to this one win alone. It's fantastic for the Patriots. Now, while it was the last home game of the regular season, their season is not done. As we go ahead and take a look at our EIVA standings presented by Giant Killer, we can see that the matchups for the playoffs, the two big wins against nationally ranked opponents, earned the Patriots the second seed in the EIVA championship, which sets up a semifinal tie against Harvard on Thursday in University Park, Pennsylvania. The Nittany Lions, who had won the conference a week earlier, will face St. Francis in the first round, and then the two winners of those two matches will face off for the EIVA championship and a guaranteed spot in the NCAA tournament. Best of luck, Mason Volleyball. Next, I'd like to talk about the men's tennis team, who competed in the A10 championships themselves last week. The first matchup was against St. Louis, Patriots were the 8th seed, and St. Louis was the 9th seed. The match started with the Patriots winning the double points and a 1-0 lead in the match, with victories from the top two flights. The top team of James Lange and Joe Hill defeated Juan Calero and John Nogolski 6-3. The double points was clinched with Tanner Bain and Aaron Capitel earning a 6-2 decision over David Farragut and Charlie Pari. The 1, 3, and 5 matchups did not finish, but it didn't matter because the Patriots won their singles matchups in the 2nd, 4th, and 6th slots to win the match. Mason then advanced to face top-seeded VCU in Friday's quarterfinal matchup. In an earlier meeting this spring, the Rams defeated Mason 7-0, so the Patriots were looking to try and come back in a big way. Unfortunately, it was more of the same for the Patriots on Friday. After narrowly losing the first doubles match, the Patriots would have no answer for the Rams the rest of the day, and the Rams would win the quarterfinal matchup 4-0. Patriots therefore finished their season 10-14 overall after splitting the 2 matches played in the A10 tournament. The women's team, meanwhile, had one final regular matchup against George Washington. Unfortunately, the Patriots were completely dominated by the Colonials, winning only one of the 3 doubles matches and ultimately losing on the day by a score of 7-0. Although the regular season is done, the team will head to their A10 championships with their 9-14 overall record. The first round begins on Thursday in Mason, Ohio, with the opponent still to be determined. Now, let's talk about the women's lacrosse team, who had 2 matches this past week. The first one was a dominating performance against the LaSalle Explorers in Philadelphia. The Patriots won the match 14-8, thanks to Alexa McGovern and Jordan Stanowich scoring 4 goals each. Also, Brooke Lorber had a career day with 5 assists, which was a career high, and a career high 6 points. They then returned home to face the Duquesne Dukes on Sunday, who were really in that territory of needing a win in order to make the playoffs. Led by senior goalkeeper and former Defensive Player of the Week Jenna Bishop, the Dukes held their own against the high-powered offense of the Patriots, limiting them to only 5 goals in the first half. The second half was a battle back and forth. Mason was able to extend their lead to 3 at one point, but the Dukes fought back thanks to quick offense and tremendous defense to take a 9-8 lead late in the game. With only 30 seconds left and the Dukes just happy to kill the clock, Jordan Stanowich showed up big with an interception with 30 seconds and gave the Patriots one final chance. After a mad scramble and a fight for the ball, the referee called a foul on the Dukes with only 2 seconds left. Brooke Lorber was given free position on the near side, and as play restarted, she decided to pass it over to Lindsay Tangerman in the middle, who ripped a shot past Bishop, but it hit the post as the buzzer sounded, and the Patriots had to settle for the 9-8 defeat. Patriots outshot the Dukes 30-17, but reigning A10 Defensive Player of the Week Jenna Bishop made 14 saves for Duquesne. Mason scored just 8 goals to tie their lowest output of the season. And as we take a look at the A10 standings presented by Giant Killer, you'll see that the loss drops Mason in the standings behind St. Joseph's and Massachusetts. And looking at their conference record, they are tied with Davidson and Duquesne. Looks like there will be 5 teams competing for those 4 coveted spots. Mason will have 2 big road games coming up. One at St. Bonaventure, you see are lower in the standings, should be a win for the Patriots, but then a huge game coming up against that number 2 seeded St. Joseph's. That one will have huge playoff implications. Moving right along now to the Diamond. It was another tough week for the Mason baseball team. The team dropped all 4 of its games this week, including a weekend sweep at the hands of the George Washington Colonials. The team simply has yet to find consistent play and put it all together for an entire series. They continue to rest at the bottom of the standings with St. Louis and VCU, the top 2 teams thus far. But fortunately, the other team on the Diamond, the softball team, had a strong week that included a series win against conference rival St. Joseph's. After taking 1 of 2 against George Washington on Wednesday, the team played 3 tough games against the Hawks in which every game was decided by 1 run. The notable game was Game 1 against the Hawks, in which the Patriots won 1-0 thanks to another dominating outing by the dynamic duo Sarah Kleinfelter and Marina Vidalich, 2 stars of the Patriots pitching staff. Looking at the standings presented by Giant Killer, the Patriots are back in 6th place, a game behind St. Louis and 2 games behind George Washington. They will have a good chance to make up some ground, however, this week when they take on the last place LaSalle Explorers for a 3-game series in Philadelphia. And last, but certainly not least, the golf team's regular season has reached its finale. It ended with them finishing 14th out of 17 teams in the Wolfpack Spring Open in Raleigh, North Carolina. They will have a week off in preparation for the A10 Championships taking place April 29th, 30th, and Sunday, May 1st. So, as I said, it was going to be a quick episode. That does it for the weekly updates. Let's take a look at this week's upcoming schedule. Some of the games to be of note to take a look at Baseball will start off with a game against James Madison that will be a home game before they head on to the road for 3 games at Radford, a little bit of out-of-conference play for the baseball team. Then the biggest game of the week after softball will play on Wednesday against Mount St. Mary's in a doubleheader. The biggest game of the week, volleyball's EIVA championship game at State College versus Harvard. Also on Thursday, the women's tennis team will will battle the rest of the A10 in the A10 championships. And then if the Patriots are able to win that game against Harvard, they will play Saturday for the EIVA finale, most likely against Penn State, but Penn State going up against that nationally ranked St. Francis team, anything can happen. Could be a great game, but Harvard, very tough opponent. Patriots will have to work it out for them in that first round. So again, that'll do it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or otherwise, let me know in the comments below or reach out to me on Twitter at Dan_Ward_11. Be sure to check out our graphic sponsor and medium provider, Giant Killer, at their website, giantkiller.co. Until next time, I am Dan Ward. You all take care.